Now you do triathlons.
Yeah.
Explain that to me. And I heard through belief that for you it's almost like a little metaphor of life.
Yeah.
So can you break down like just fitness and your heart for that, and then how you see the parallel for life?
Yeah, super interesting. I dabbled in professional sports as a surfer when I was much younger, like total other lifetime, and I was in horrible shape in this middle ground. I'm 43 now, and in this middle ground between 20, 21, and 43, I just went through this period of just being in horrible shape, and something grabbed a hold of me and just said, man, number one, I want to be fit. I got 6 kids. And so like, I want to be fit, but I also love the challenge. And triathlons for me, and Belief and I were talking about this on one of our podcasts. People are like, this is crazy. Why do you do it? And I said, because the challenge for me is that the very principle that we just talked about everyone sees the success of crossing the finish line in a triathlon, but that's not actually where you become successful. You become successful at managing the moments while you're training, and you become successful managing the moments in these 3 different disciplines. Because in a triathlon, you're going to go out and you're going to swim a distance, you're going to bike a distance, and run a distance. And too many times in life, I think what we do is we compartmentalize life, and we look at life and we isolate things. And with a triathlon, you can't isolate each one of those, because I'm not going to just go swim. I'm not going to just go bike or run. I actually have to have a thought process that works in integration and not isolation. Wow. And the reality is in your life as a father and as a husband, and as an artist and as a business owner and as a person of faith and all these other things that you are, we try to compartmentalize and isolate things. And we say that, well, I can run 100% right out of the gates, and I can keep that pace every other place in my life. And the reality is you can't.
That's good.
And so it takes a level of maturity to say, you know what, I need to pace myself in the swim so that I have the ability to produce what I need to produce in the bike, and ultimately I'm going to crush it in the run. But you have to be able to finish. Right. If you want to finish strong at all, you got to be able to finish. Right. And so triathlon to me is it's number one, wildly challenging, and it's a mental game, and it also takes a level of looking at this challenge and going, okay, there's some real basic fundamental things that I need to do. Yeah. And if I do them and I let them actually take the work and just put my energy into it, I'm going to find balance. Yeah. And balance, here's the other thing. Balance in your life is never a two-sided game. What we do is we say we need to spend more time with our family. So we push all of our chips into family time. And it tips this two-sided scale, and suddenly we're not spending time in this other thing we want to spend time in. Right. Let's say as a creative, in the studio, writing, creating, producing something. Right. And the reality for me is that life is more like this idea of a triathlon. There's a third place and sometimes a fourth place. And all these things are pulling on you, and you're never truly balanced. Right. It's you've got to make the adjustment in the moment that right now my son and my wife need me, and I need to push more resource over there. Yep. And to someone from the outside, they may look at your life and go, you're out of balance. But for you, the way the wind's blowing and the way that it's hitting the sail in that boat that you call your life, you're going, no, this is balance. Yep. But triathlon makes you physically pay. If you don't get it right,
you're gonna hurt later.
you probably won't even. You probably won't finish. You'll be throwing up and losing a bunch of other bodily fluids.
And you said that there's 3 M's.
Marriage, marketplace, and ministry.
Yeah, break that down.
Yeah, essentially, so I think again, Belief and I were talking about these 3 aspects of triathlon. I'm gonna swim, bike, and run. It's the same thing in life. There's really 3 M's that I can break any person's life down to. It's your marriage, it's your marketplace. Where are you working? Are you successful in that thing, in the ministry that God's called you to? Some of us, for me, as a vocational pastor, my marketplace, where I earn my living, it is also a ministry. But I will tell you that I also need to have ministry outside of my marketplace. So that challenges me.
Wow, that's good. Yeah, because you could get real lazy and be like, well, cool, man, like I work at a church, or like I do music and that's my marketplace and my ministry.
Dude, my wife, your wife's, I know a lot. Like, they're our best soundboards. Mm-hmm. My wife looked at me the other day and she said, I wanted to go volunteer to do something. Mm-hmm. And she goes, you need to serve.
Whew.
and I looked at her and she said, no, and she, you know, and anyone who knows my wife, she just looked at me and smiled. She goes, no, I think you need to serve. Everybody needs to serve. But so, yeah, the basis of the idea is there's those 3 M's in life. You have to decide what resource needs to go into each one of those. Typically, if you're feeling frustrated in life, I will tell you, or if you feel like you're suffering somehow, one of those M's isn't in balance.
Yeah.
And typically, it's because if you quickly jot down, there's an incongruent lineup of what your expectation is in one of those M's and what you're actually, goes back to what we were saying, what effort you're actually putting into it.
Yep, that's good. And people, this is a question I get a lot. Like, how do you balance? How do you balance all these things? You know, and I'm like, dude, I don't. Like, I don't.
You don't.
You know? I manage.
There you go.
Sometimes I have to fall way back and go really in on family time. You know, and feel guilty almost. Like, geez, I haven't been in the studio. I haven't done anything creative.
Yeah.
I've just been 3 days doing nothing but hanging out with my family.
Yeah.
And other times it's like I'm gone for a week and it's really hard, and you know, FaceTime and that's not enough, you know. And so I think that side of things is can be really tough as well. So I don't know how to balance. I think, like you said, you got to just go where you feel like you can sense, okay, I got to zone in and really spend time in the marriage. You know what I mean? I got to zone in and really go hard in the marketplace in this season. I got to zone in. What advice do you have in terms of young creatives who aren't married and don't have a family, but for whatever reason aren't feeling the same pressure or the same tangible, right? Because I feel like the older I've gotten, the more serious life has gotten, and the more I've learned to work harder, be more intentional in my family. But are you like, because I look at someone that's 18, 19, 20 years old, like, man, you guys got all the advantage in the world. You don't have a wife, you don't got no kids, you barely go to work, right? Like, so those guys at an advantage, or are they psychologically at a disadvantage because they actually don't even have all those same pressures and challenges that we do? That, like, dude, when I'm in the studio, I gotta work because I don't get a whole lot of, you know.
I got babies to feed.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's both. I think, to be fair, I think a friend of mine told me one time, when my wife and I, again, we have 6 kids, so when we had our first, he said, man, everything's going to change now. And him and I did business together, and I said, what do you mean? He said, you're not going to have the luxury that we have now to make certain decisions or to step out on certain limbs because you have more responsibility now. Wow. And on the flip side, what I said to him I said, yeah, but I actually think that the decisions I make are going to be more focused.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm going to go after them a little bit harder because now I have more to lose.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to encourage in young people, I have an 18-year-old who's getting ready to graduate high school. We were just talking last night, and she's trying to get into Stanford. And I think she's got a really good chance, crazy enough as that sounds. And we have to figure out how to pay for that. But, you know, I told her, I said, you know, we were talking about investing. I said, start investing now. Get smart with your money now. Give yourself the ability now so that, like, manage that tension now. $100 a month at 18 is actually really difficult compared to me at 43. Right. But when you're 35, you're not going to feel the pressure of, I really need to get my act together because I got to think about when I'm 65. Right. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to back the train up a little bit. And really what I'm talking about is managing the tension of discomfort. So when you were talking, I think this whole idea of balance, and whether it's a young person, a young creative, so if you're a young creative out there and you're listening, I think a lot of the stuff that you have to say, Ru, is spot on for young creatives. I would say to you, don't run from tension.
Good.
You do have certain freedoms. I would actually challenge young creatives. Put yourself in positions where there is more tension. Because when there's tension, that's where, and this is the trick, we always want to remove or fix tension because we don't like discomfort. But it's only in tension that we grow.
That's good.
So
good.
I
So run into the tension.
I'd say find it, right? So practically, what's the harder decision for my 18-year-old daughter? What's a harder decision for her to take $100 a month at 18 with no job, babysitting and doing whatever she did? It's harder for her to take that $100 a month and start investing money. But what I'm telling her is embrace the tension now, because at the end of the road, it's actually going to give you more opportunity, more freedom.
It's good.
And so find those practical areas that you can run into, and you can embrace the discomfort. You're going to be uncomfortable some point in your life.
You are. Yep.
Like it's something you're going to run into. I'm saying embrace it up front.
On the front end, yeah.
Give you the freedom on the back end.
That's good.